And welcome back to the Splitting Hairs podcast presented by Jackrabbit Illustrated. Another Victory Sunday coming at you hot.
Yay.
So yesterday was a wonderful day. It was a great day to be out tailgating, a great day to be at football game, and had a lot of fun. Got to see a ton of your smiling faces at the mega tent and meet some new folks, and so that was great. And got to see the Jacks play. I predicted a 42-17 game, so 42-21. Feeling all right with that. Kind of played out how I thought. I thought we'd be able to stop quarterback a little more, Sluka a little more than we did, but it is what it is. But before we get too deep into it, Chad, how the heck are you?
Great, Matt. I had a good Sunday. Went to church. I've been working on my pole shed, and the pole count was 2, and now it's 6. So my neighbor come over and helped me, and that was a big difference maker.
That's a good day.
So he made a difference. Got all the corner posts done. So doing well.
Good. Speaking
Which
of
means
church,
people, it's not that cold out.
I
can work outside. It's not that cold out.
Yeah. Speaking of church, we had our church Christmas program today at our church.
Oh, nice.
And my son was a shepherd. and he
speaking part?
Year, no speaking part yet. Next year, he said he wants to be the donkey. so that kid's going places. So, anyways, we're here tonight. So thank you to Cottonwood Coffee in Brookings. Swung into there yesterday and grabbed some coffee before hitting tailgating, and it was a great pick-me-up. It was awesome. Didn't need to be too warm because you guys had that tent roasty toasty, and that was pretty nice. But it was delicious coffee, some of the best around. Order it online at cottonwoodcoffee.com. Use code JI22 for 10% off your order. And thank you, Cottonwood.
All orders over $10.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks. Drake's Place up in Bowdle, South Dakota, and we need to teach Kyle how to say Bowdle, South Dakota.
Yes.
I don't know if that's his Georgia accent or if he's picking up some sort of Texan there. Bowdle, however he says it.
Jason and I literally talked about that on the way up. I've never really wanted to correct Kyle, but I always kind of wanted to say it's bow, like you take a bow.
Yeah. So anyways,
don't be offended, sir.
Drake's Place. Stop in and get your food. Delicious items. Jackrabbit themed menu. Tons of drinks. Get your fuel. Whatever it may be. Drake family is awesome and supports this podcast. They listen and watch and comment. Provide good ideas. And so stop into Drake's when you're heading that direction. So thank you, Drake family, for your support. Yes, we did, Jim Poppin. We talked about it too. Bottle, whatever.
He says Bodle,
South Dakota.
Like a bow, like you get a penalty for making the slit the throat thing.
Yep.
Maybe too soon. I don't know.
Oh gosh. All right. Nice PBR hat. Perfect, Darren. Yeah. Darren came through clutch yesterday too. Darren and Aaron picking up our buddy Tim, who was a hero and stopped a fugitive down in Mitchell. He was T-boned.
And he did so with the front of his car.
Yeah, so he was great. Yeah, good job, Tim. Way to be a hero. Darren and Aaron, thanks for helping our hero out. All right. Yes, we had Fireball Santa. We had Pudding Shot Santa. We had some Holy Cross folks bring Jello shots. So we had a Jello shot Santa. Man, tailgating was wonderful yesterday.
Yeah, so, not only did Fireball Santa bring us all Fireball, which is specifically not allowed in the rules, but I only mentioned that because of the other incident.
Yeah.
But his wife brought like a Kahlua cupcake. They were great. So
yeah, those were good.
My wife really enjoyed that.
There was so much good food. My gosh. Jace brought those kolaches or whatever they were. Those were delicious. All right. Anyways, let's get to it. So we've already talked about tailgating and how much fun it was. I do want to just comment quickly on UPD. They did stop and visit us. I was carrying a glass bottle. I was having some Shinerbach, and I know better. I got to pour it in a cup. But they were super cool about it. They just said, "Hey, no glass bottles," and I said, "Oh, I'll go get a cup." No problem, and super friendly about it. They weren't jerks. Told us to have fun, keep having fun, and then walked away. So that's how you do it. So thank you, UPD, or Brookings PD, whoever it was that was on us, and we know better. We know the rules. So
Yeah, and there was a sheriff there, and we had some friends down from Fargo, and they had thrown a bottle of Jack in the snowbank out back of our tent. And I walked around the backside, and I was like, "Hey, man, do you know the sheriff's like right around the corner? Maybe you should just like get that a little more out of sight." To which he walked into the front of the tent where the sheriff was standing, and he's like, "Hey, you can't do that." And he's like, "Well, I didn't know." And to be fair, he didn't. So
he didn't know. Yeah.
put that all away, and they were very cool about it, is my point. So
Yep. All right. So the game. Let's talk about that.
yeah.
So again, playoff Zay was back.
Yes, sir.
Mark did what Mark does. The Yankees made plays. Tucker, had a drop, but made some nice plays as well. I don't know what overall, pretty balanced attack, pretty balanced day for the offense. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm glad we got the ball into Tucker's hands a couple more times. There were some plays that he didn't get an opportunity. And I'd say those ended up being no calls, like the one in the south end zone, the first, what was that, our second series or third series? Yeah. And the guys draped all over him.
His arm was pinned. So
yeah. And then the guy didn't turn around at all. We had a couple of those throughout the game. The good thing is the officials seem to call it the same both ways, right? They didn't call anything one way or the other. I think we had some bad blocks a couple times that we got away with. Speaking of, our offense and being balanced, and you were talking about playoffs, Zay, how about his stiff arm? That thing made all sorts of noise on Twitter.
Yeah. Has that guy returned from the dimension that Zay sent him into? Like, I mean,
well, apparently somebody else had mentioned, I think they were, I don't know, it wasn't a player, but they stated that was one of the guys that was doing most of the chirping.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
yeah,
that's that'll bad. Just put you in your place. That's what they call what do they call that? Destiny.
Hey, let's Darren brings up a good point here to get down to business here. 3 first quarter field goals. Absolutely. Can't have that. We got to be more efficient in the red zone. I thought, and I think Kyle will echo this, and he saw it on his Twitter when he was live tweeting the game. We can't be so cute in the red zone. I wrote about in Rants and Raves. I'd rather take Isaiah, Mark, Tucker on dives or keeps, whatever, all day versus throwing up fades. Like, fades to me is such a low percentage play. Our offensive line and those three, no problems. Like, I'd rather do that. So
yeah, we were standing over in our section saying, why are we running the ball more? Like, we're having pretty good success with it. Just run the ball more. Like, it's, even if you get one or two that only goes for a yard, fine. The next one goes for 6 or 7. It's, we got to just stick to what we do well. I mean, throwing the ball's fine, but we did like that reverse pass that was a good play, but I guess I don't want to complain about it really, because we've been really balanced all year, like you said early. But yeah, we don't have to get cute.
The one thing on that reverse pass that I want to point out is so many times there's not a backup plan in case the guy that's flying is covered. Right. I loved how they had that screen set up on the back side just in case. That was smart. That's a great design. And that did get 11 yards, but it's better than a negative play that often results on those because of, you have a guy that wants to throw a touchdown pass that never gets the chance. So, yeah, he forces it and goes the other direction.
Yeah, I thought as a play, it was a great play design. I'm sorry about hitting my mic there. Yeah, but,
still, I'm with you.
Still, yeah, exactly. Yep. I mean, bread and butter, stick with that. They did some good things too. Their defensive line played with a lot of leverage. I felt like they hit us, they popped us real good a lot of times when we weren't in pass pro. So our guys were not necessarily on the roller skates, but weren't as dominating on those particular instances where they got really good leverage on us. And that showed a little bit as some of the runs didn't go for as many yards as we would normally see, I think.
Yeah. They have two really good defensive ends. That 92 and 55 are both terrific players, in my opinion. I think they could start for a lot of Valley teams. They just what caught up to them is what we talked about all week. They don't have any depth. They play that 3-man front, I think, because they don't have any depth along the defensive line. They played
possible.
4 or 5 guys basically the whole game on the defensive line. And by the fourth quarter, you just can't do that against the 605 Hogs. You got to have some depth, some rotation there, because we're going to grind you down. And we saw that in the fourth quarter, putting up 21 points. So,
and I think the same could be said with their offensive line, when we're rotating our defensive line. And I think that's why you saw the fourth quarter result that you did.
Yep.
Some of us might have mentioned as they were walking back into the locker room for halftime, how does it feel to be where you're at, knowing you threw everything in the kitchen sink at our team? And and that's the result.
Yeah.
Just think about that when you're in the locker room.
Yep.
So
yep.
Yeah.
I want to talk about our defensive line though. That was the most disappointed I've been with that group all season. That third quarter, Holy Cross had them on skates and was really able to do whatever they wanted running the ball. I'm not sure if that opening drive that they had in the third quarter, like that 7-8 minute drive, whatever it was, did they throw the ball at all? It was just Saluka running the whole time. They might have attempted to throw, but I think Saluka tucked it and ran. So that was really concerning. And watching Montana State, against Weber, we'll get into this a little bit. They're not going to move you like Holy Cross did, but they're so athletic out in space that's where they win, is they get those guys out in space. So I don't know. It's two different styles of a running quarterback. So it's tough to compare at this point, but I was really concerned how our defensive line got pushed around. I don't know.
Ron Lowney, points on the board was what matters in the end, my friend. That's all I got to say.
Ryan's comment here, the announcer said that Holy Cross, yes, that was unique. They were running in bigs all the time. They had a couple guys like in what would traditionally be tight end numbers coming in too. I think 40 was one of them, maybe like a 88 or something like that.
I think 89, the one
89,
that caught that trick play.
Yeah. So that's just something unique to them. And those were good offensive linemen. So,
hey, listen, they played a really good game. We got to give them a lot of credit. They have a lot of good athletes. They do it with less scholarships than us. And because the Patriot League, they've increased their scholarships, so they're closer to fully funded for FCS. But they played a heck of a game, and everybody's been doubting them. But there's no doubt they threw everything they possibly could at us, and really did a good job on the coaching end of seeing what they could do offensively to get our linebackers shifted out of position. It happened quite a few times. That's why Saluka got those running lanes he did. Or they would stunt just at the right time, or I mean they would pull at the right time and catch our stunts and create those lanes. Also, you can only be trying to attack the passer for so long, and at some point in time there's going to be an opening, and he found it every time, and he just just weaseled right through there. I mean, redhead with no soul, but what do you do?
Yep. It was a little concerning on some of those plays. Our D tackles either were looping or stunting or whatever with the ends, and the ends never got back, or the D tackles were just getting washed and creating these massive running lanes for them. And that was concerning, definitely.
And they were mostly up the middle.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I'm not sure what it was, if the tackles were just getting pushed, or if it was a stunt and the ends weren't getting back down. I don't know. Aaron, press conference. Jackson said he couldn't confirm next week will be his last at the Dana. Could he be back next year? So we have heard, Jackson and Jaden, that there's the potential both or one could be back next year. So Jackson kind of alluded to that in his press conference, and there's been no final decision. I'm sure at some point they're going to sit down and kind of hear what certain scouts or agents think. If they are late round draft picks, if they are preferred priority free agents, if they're just tryout players. I mean, there's a big difference between those three levels for sure. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think I'm just laughing a little bit at what Jesse Royston said, but I think it's one of those situations, kind of like Garrett and Mason, where if they don't get quite the interest that they think they'd get for sticking around another year, they're gonna stick it out.
Yep.
You know?
This is something Jace Hollenbeck says. I like the idea of playing rough this week and preparing for a known commodity instead of Holy Cross with revenge on the line. NDSU next level of focus this week. Yeah. And I think we've talked about this a little bit. I know what Jace we talked about yesterday after the game. Could the team have maybe been overlooking Holy Cross a little bit? Maybe. Maybe. I mean, I think I was personally.
I would say, even though, we're always real conservative on what we say in this program and the other podcasts, we all felt, at least in the group text, that maybe it was going to get a little more like the Delaware game, and that proved to be incorrect. So
Yep. And watching Montana State absolutely destroy William and Mary the night before, that probably didn't help either. Like, oh boy, here we're all set up now for Montana State. Let's go. Oh shit, we have to play Holy Cross first and stop Matt Saluka. So, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Montana State, I don't know when we get into that animal, but they're a heck of a team, and they do some things similar to Holy Cross. Like who was it that said, oh, it was Ben, I think they called it Holy Cross Montana State Light. So I think it was a good warm up, and like Jace was saying, us playing bad, I think helps us refocus for Montana State a little bit.
No, and Coach Stig kind of alluded to it on the radio interview with Tyler that I caught. We had guys out of place on those long quarterback runs, I guess, on Saluka, guys not filling the right gap, right hole. And so that's going to increase focus. Like, hey, I screwed up and allowed a touchdown because I didn't do my assignment. I think this is an awesome opportunity. The chain gang really got their butts whooped, and the linebackers, according to Stig, weren't in the right spots to make the tackles or safeties. I'm not sure. So, this is a good week to focus in. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just hope the team listens to this podcast. We all know they don't, but they hear us, basically more or less dogging them for what we feel wasn't their best performance. But I think the tape will show that. So I don't think we're out of bounds saying that it wasn't the team's best performance, certainly in areas. No. And maybe they take that to heart and show us what they can do against the next foe.
Yeah, indeed. Thinking about it, we haven't addressed it at all, but it sounds like Malik will be back for Montana State, and that's good. Malik's a sound tackler. Dyshawn and Dallas, though, played a heck of a game, I thought.
Yes, they did.
Dallas had 2 pass breakups, and that last one in the fourth quarter was really awesome. Just a smart play to come around from behind and punch it out right after the guy made the catch.
Excellent.
So, yeah. Dyshawn, too, again, just playing so damn well right now. Another pass breakup. He's just big. He's physical, playing with a ton of confidence. I can't say just enough good stuff about him. So I'm happy he's a Jack. Happy we have him for another year. So that's for darn sure.
Yeah, and we love having the other guy too that was sitting out. I mean, they've had an excellent year no matter what happens. And kudos to both those guys, because I think we thought maybe they were one of the weaker points in the defense early in the season, and they've proven us completely wrong. So kudos, guys.
Yes, Jace, this is what I've been thinking too. It's a luxury to play like poo and win by 21. Yep. Jim Poppin, crowd noise. Thank you for typing this. I forgot to mention crowd noise. If you weren't there, that was one of the best Jackrabbit crowds for football I have heard. That reminded me of a WNIT Summit League tournament Jackrabbit crowd. How loud that was! That was
Really?
awesome. Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Well,
So
Brendan did a really good job. He like shifted sides, so east,
yeah,
north, and south, and went down to the south side. Kind of got that section into the game there at late in the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter. There was one of the fans afterwards like, "You guys coming down made a big difference." So
yeah.
it doesn't have to be us guys. Anybody in your section can get up and cheer on second down, especially on third down, right? I mean, this is like
Mm-hmm.
just make a lot of noise. Just make
Yeah.
a lot of noise.
Yep.
It does make a difference.
Yeah. Paper Hands, Moon Boy, give Holy Cross some credit, fellas. They hung around for 3.5 quarters and surpassed everyone's expectations. I feel like we have. I don't know.
I think he might have joined late.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we have. I feel like we have. They've got a great
yeah,
team. They've got
yeah.
some great athletes. Their coaching's pretty fantastic, and
We
they're going to be in the playoffs again next year. I would
yeah.
bet my house on it.
As long as Sluka and Chesney are there, I'd have no doubt.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I would take Holy Cross. We can get into this a little bit. I would take Holy Cross to win the CAA hands down at this point. From what we've seen the CAA these playoffs. Jeez, that how bad have they been? My gosh.
Well,
Oof.
the CAA has lost their top dogs, and it's like that has lowered the level of play across the board. Maybe I don't know that you wouldn't think so, but it kind of seemed like it in these playoffs, right? So the scores sure show us what that league was made of this year, and maybe it's just a 1 year dip. Who knows?
Do you want to talk about our guy Jason Freeman? Darren says the Freeman pick six. It's kind of funny. Right before that play happened, I started going, "Come on, interception, like pick six, let's go." And then it happened. I got a lot of high fives. People liked it, so I felt pretty smart there for a second somehow. So.
I think that's a great place to transition into game balls, don't you, Matt?
Yeah. All right. So last week, neither Dallas nor I really.
I'd like to point out that our game balls section is presented by Dakota Iron, Sioux Falls, West 12th Street. They can get you any heavy equipment that you need, and they'll find exactly what you need, what's right for your needs, because they dig deeper.
Hey, there we go. All right. So Dallas, I'd say, nailed this for game balls, or much closer than I was. He predicted Mark and Freeman for the game balls, and I had Tucker and Kobe Huerter, which Kobe Huerter, got to talk about him for a second on special teams. I don't know what he did to piss off the kick return for Holy Cross, but man, they were mugging him every single time on kickoff. Oh, buddy. Jeepers.
I think he talked about the time that he had spent with their sisters the night before or something, because they were not having it. But I'm surprised they didn't get flagged for what they were doing at the end of that one kick on their side over by us. And but he just got up, walked away, like just another day at the office.
So I don't, right? Yeah. I don't know what happened on that last kickoff on the sideline, but in front of us was, I think, their long snapper, maybe number 50 was the number. And there was a commotion further down towards midfield. He went sprinting down without a helmet into the fray, like looking to fight someone. And a coach must have seen him and grabbed him and yanked him back on the sideline. And he came back down in front of us, just all hot and bothered. But man, he was not in control of his body at that moment. Hoofta.
Yeah, I think that just highlights the difference that our mental performance coach has had. I mean, we're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing it in our fans, right? I think he's affecting us, like in a good way. And so props to Chris Kroc. You're having even a bigger effect. It's more amplified than you might even know. And that's pretty awesome.
Yep, indeed. Well, and that's the great. Like yesterday, there was never a moment where I was like, we're not going to win this game, in my opinion. It was a little closer than I thought for a little longer. But again, I thought we were going to win the whole time. So
we're on game balls.
Game balls, yeah.
Sorry.
Anyways, well, who are you going with?
Who am I going with for game
Yeah.
balls on this game? Well, defense, I'm giving it Jason Freeman because I couldn't have been more elated to see that guy in particular get a pick six. I lost my ever-loving mind almost as bad as when Zenner run 99 yards in Kansas. The only difference is I controlled my response a little bit and did not lose my voice. Because I did that in Kansas. It was gone. What, third play of the game for us or whatever, and I just lost my voice. But no, I was stoked by that. And so for defense, he definitely gets my game ball. Special teams, you didn't mention who you had for special teams.
I did.
Did you? Oh, I missed it.
Oh, we usually don't do predictions for special teams.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah,
usually
don't. Offense, it's got to be Isaiah. I mean, that's the easy pick. That's who I'm going with.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I went with Isaiah. I matched you. I did go with Savion Williamson on defense and not Freeman, just because Freeman didn't have much for stats outside of that pick six, but it was a huge play.
It's a big stat if it
I know. And usually a touchdown is automatic for me if it's on defense or special teams. But I did go with Savion because there were a couple times he was on an island and made the stop on Saluka when no one else could or would have. So
now he's been playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
And kudos. I mean, we can't say enough good about that situation. Mm-hmm. So,
and what a luxury to be able to bring Adam Bach back slowly and not push it to have a middle linebacker of Savion's caliber to step in and play. So, man, yeah, love that stiff arm. Excellent. Thanks, Ron. Something nice about the Jacks for once. Man,
that's why I had to put it up.
Oh, geez, Ron.
Yeah, that's it. We're that's it. It's all over. Ron is now officially a Jackrabbit fan. Yep. You saw it here, and come on over to my tailgate. We'll have a beer for you, and we'll have some blue gear for you to put on.
Is Ron? Ron, are you coming to Brookings, man?
We gotta
meet you. We got to meet you. As much shit as you've talked this year, we got to meet you. All right. Let's. And then special teams for me was Jaden with the returns. I know he had the fumble right away, but his returns were awesome otherwise. So
yeah, and I was gonna say the same thing. So yeah, I'm pretty lame there.
All right, let's move on to Montana State.
The fighting Wildcats of Montana State.
So this team stresses me out, guys. This offense right now is insane. Let's kind of just look at their last few games. So Cal Poly, they put up 72 points. Cal Poly is awful, but still 72 points. Against Montana, the college game day game, we all saw that. They put up 55. Weber State is a game I'm watching right now, or was before the show, in the second round of playoffs, 33-25. Weber plays them really well. And it's going to be interesting to see how this game, watching it, how it kind of unfolds. We saw what they did to William and Mary. William and Mary was not prepared for anything.
That level of play, I think you could say, honestly.
William and Mary was happy to be there, I think. Jeepers. And they put up 55 points. They just mauled them. Absolutely mauled them. The complicated thing about this offense is that they do so stinking much. They'll hit you with a read option, an option, a speed option, a pop pass, a dual quarterback sets where you don't know who is actually going to take the snap, if it's Chambers or if it's Malott. They'll put Malott out at wide receiver. They'll run Malott out of the backfield from a handoff from Chambers. They'll do all sorts of just garbage and then run a normal offense where they hand the ball off up the gut to Isaiah Afonso, who's back from injury, and it'll go for 15 yards. So it's just, I can't imagine how Jimmy's going to get sleep this week. I'm watching this game against Weber right now and watch the Montana game, and it's just stressing me out, man. Chad, calm me down. Calm me down here, Chad.
I'm not going to help a whole lot. I think they're running the ball much more effectively than they did last year. And what I mean, they did beat us last year, obviously, but I think the thing that really killed us last year was their NFL wide receiver that they just threw 50-50 balls up and he came down with them all. I think that was what really killed us. They still got some talent at wide receiver. I think our D line is actually better this year than it was last year. So that definitely helps. Having Adam Bach back would be a big difference if he's 100% back. Our defensive line is going to have to play different than they played this week. I can tell you that much. If they play like they did this week, it's going to be an absolute slaughter. And so that's the challenge, guys. The chain gangs needs to step up their game this week and play like they did again against NDSU.
Yeah. So Jace brings up a good point here, and this was something I did have in my notes. Their close games have been on the road. Eastern Washington stunk this year. So Kyler, if you're listening, they were bad. Congrats on your new stadium, though, that Jeff Bezos is paying for. NAU was a weird team this year. They have a bad record, but they played a lot of teams close.
Especially the better teams.
Yeah, especially the better teams. So that's something to watch. If you look, their field this is Montana State's field. Montana State's field has absolutely been trash the last few weeks because of the snow. And Chad, you thought they may use a brush or something on it instead of actually plowing it off.
A brush. Yeah.
But
I think we do too, don't we? Don't we plow it then brush it with like a bobcat?
But it was awful. Like watching the Weber game, guys were slipping all over. We saw how they were sliding all over on William and Mary. For their type of offense where they want to get you out in space and get you outmanned, it's such an advantage offense because you know where you're going, and the defense is trying to get traction and sliding all over. So it'll be interesting to see on a decent field. Hopefully, we'll see. Our field could be a mess too this weekend.
Well, because it's supposed to be freezing rain all week, right?
Yeah,
so how do you deal with that? Like once it's frozen, it's not like you throw salt down on your field. You're going to have to go out there with heaters or something to get the ice off.
Yep.
I'm glad I don't have to come up with the solutions there because, I could, but they're not going to be easy. The one thing we're going to know for sure is Montana State weather's not going to be a factor, right? They're definitely going to be used to this. So we could just take that one off the table. And I like this comment here by Erin Amick. She's like, this Christopher Crock offer support for fans. I can use it.
Right.
Well, Matt gets him first, and then you can get whatever time. I think he's a contract worker technically.
Yeah, Aaron, you probably could.
So if you want to find the right channels and pay him the money, I'm sure he probably has some time.
Yeah. So he'll
be busy this week though.
Right. When I talk about Montana State's offensive line being uber athletic and good out in space, the one caveat with that is that they're not the biggest, right? Let's go through this quick. So their left tackle is a stud, Rush Reimer, 6'5", 300. Left guard is 6'3", 288. Their center is funny to see on TV. He is 6 foot, maybe 280. And then a 6'4",
having an anchor there.
Yeah. 6'4", 290 at guard and 6'4", 290 at right tackle. And so that's a Pioneer League sized line. But these guys, let me tell you, it is so fun to see them move and kick and pull and just get their leverage right. I'm looking forward to seeing this group in person. But it would feel to me, and I'm saying this, Ron, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Any play that they run up the middle, to me, feels like a throwaway play at this point.
Like the dives, yeah.
Yeah, they're dives because when they get you in space and get you outmanned, it's so frustrating. I can't imagine being a defensive coordinator. So I don't know. Chad, what have you seen from them so far?
They use good motion to get your linebackers moving and create that space, and they do it really well. Brent Vegan, as much as I hate to say it, knows our team really well too. So that's not an advantage us, but we know his team pretty well too. So that probably is a cancel out. But yeah, on the offensive line, our offensive side of the ball, that They really like to use motions and stuff to get
Mm-hmm.
you a little out of space and create those running lanes. So they do it really well.
Yep. They use a dual quarterback system. Both are very similar in what they do. Tommy Malot's a little smaller, 6', 205. He's the one we saw last year in the playoffs. They brought in a transfer from Wyoming in Sean Chambers. And the interesting part is Chambers is a big dude. He's 6'3", 232. If you look at their stats, they're both 60% passers. Malot's throwing almost, 1.5 times more passes. They both have 4 interceptions, and they both complete 60% of their passes. So it's really interesting to see. I would definitely say Malott is a more dynamic runner. He has better. He has better speed, whereas Chambers is a little more physical, downhill, will run you over. Again, he has that size behind him. So, yeah.
I mean, I like to think that Malot's probably the better runner and more of a run first quarterback, if you will. Not that he doesn't throw the ball well or anything, but Chambers, I think, is the better passer, if that makes sense. So I don't know how their numbers show out, but my eye test was that it was like 45, 55, 55, 45. And the bigger number with run plays for Malott and the bigger number with pass plays for Chambers. And I mean, honestly, they're pretty lucky they brought in Chambers, because not having him when Malott went out would have been a pretty big deal. I think that could have really been detrimental to their offense and their overall number of wins.
Yep.
That could have really affected things for them.
Right. And that's the right way to use the portal, right? Is to go get players to supplement areas on your team. So
I'm hoping Ron Lonnie's talking about my take. I hope so. He said we're correct. So positive things from Ron. He's obviously a Jackrabbit fan this week.
There we go. I do want to bring up their one receiving threat that I really do like is Willie Patterson. I believe he caught 1 touchdown pass against us last year. I remember seeing him. Obviously McCutcheon was the dude last year that they had. And he's done well with the Chargers, or did at least in the preseason. I haven't followed him too closely this regular season, but so you have to watch out for him. Kind of an interesting name that popped up when I was watching the Weber State broadcast is Marky Johnson. That's someone that we had recruited originally out of Colorado, I believe, and he's their kick returner, I guess is what he's listed as. It was a super dynamic, player. So that's just something to watch. He's tiny. He's 5'8", 5'9", something like that. But I remember him as a recruit and being super excited about him potentially joining us in Brookings. So should we talk about defense?
Sure. I got one last thing to say, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No.
If you're being completely honest and you're not a total homer, and, so if you don't live in Fargo, it's hard not to be 100% complimentary and point out all the good things that they do on offense. So they're an excellent offensive team. They got a real good defense too. So why don't you take it away there?
So this defense is interesting, right? It is so much like these defenses we faced the last couple of weeks, including you and I, going back even further, where they're really multiple in a 3-4 or 4-3, a 4-2-5, all that kind of stuff. They play their safeties all over the place. The one guy that I really, really do like is on their defensive line, Sebastian Valdez. He's kind of a wrecker in the middle, and that's something that I would look out for. He's their tackle, but I wouldn't be shocked if he lines up, all over the place and kind of messes with whether it's Gus or Evan Brinson, whoever it may be. So I would look for that. Their linebacker, their leading tackler is Callahan O'Reilly, which just feels
a great name.
Terrific. Yeah, like a terrific Montana name. Like he stepped off the set of Yellowstone or something. So
straight off the boat from Ireland.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's their leading tackler, playmaker all over the field. Ty Okada is their nickel cornerback, and he's a playmaker. I think he's a 3-year starter, if I remember right, and just really kind of a ball hawk. So he's someone that to kind of take a look at too. Their other outside corners, I do think there's opportunities there with the Yankees, and that's not a slight at them and stuff, but I do think there's opportunities there. If there's a weakness on this defense, I think that may be it. We'll see. Montana probably said the same thing with their passing offense, and that did not happen. So this Brody Grebe, absolutely. Yep, he's a good player. I believe that he was a all Big Sky player, wasn't he? Paper Hands Moon Boy, I believe. I think that's correct.
Paper Hands Moon Boy's been watching a little bit too much Mike Tyson fights there.
Yeah. So
Beast, I think he meant.
Yeah, Beast.
Beast. Merry Christmas. Sorry.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, this defense is real good, like you're pointing out. But let's just talk about the thing everybody keeps bringing up. No Troy Anderson this year. He was a one-man wrecking crew. Jim Poppin says, I have to agree. Troy Anderson was everywhere in that game against us last year. Not having him, that helps our case.
But I'd make the point, or I'd propose that their defensive line really freed Anderson up to make a lot of plays last year. And that's funny.
It's my favorite movie. I wasn't gonna not put this up.
Good. That's
the old
funny.
new guy's over there puking his guts out.
Oh gosh.
Oh my
God.
Love Tommy Boy.
Yeah. So I would say, that their defensive line last year is what freed Anderson up to make so many plays, and we just couldn't block him. I think one of the plays I'll never forget is Isaiah Davis trying to stiff arm Anderson, and Isaiah Davis doesn't miss stiff arms, and Anderson just buried him. Yep. And that was his worst playoff game that he's had. So I don't know. I think about that. So I think.
Oh shoot!
I like this guy, Paper Hands Moon Boy. You're welcome.
He's been on our pods a couple times. I'm pretty sure he's like 99% sure he's a Montana State fan. I mean, so hopefully he can come to our game and catch our tailgate.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, their defensive line's real quality. So the only good thing is we've got a pretty quality offensive line. They just have to play a little better than I think they did this last week.
Yep. So a few things here. Opponents are scoring 26 points per game against Montana State. They're rushing for 130, passing for 222. But Montana State has gotten to the quarterback, I believe, 31 times for sacks. Opponents are being held to 35% on third down. So, just this defense, again, comes at you from all different sorts of layers and levels. It really reminds me of UNI's defense when I watched it. So, but just better players.
Another thing that you didn't point out that I've seen when I've watched them is they use real well-timed blitzes, and they do it really well. They hit them right at the right time. They get to the line at the right time so that they don't really have to, check their brakes. And I think that's why they get home so much. Tries to be neutral. Okay.
Yeah. That must be the other Matt. Frazee. Unbiased Bison.
Yeah,
I'm a biased Jackrabbit. Yeah, so he's not talking about me.
Matt's neutral? I mean, I guess he pulls back maybe a little bit his feelings, so we don't make bulletin board material.
This is a great point, Jordan, and this is something that I've thought of too, is I think we ran out of gas last year, and that Montana State's a great team. They played a great game last year. We can't take anything away from them, but our team was cooked. And they'll never make that excuse, but I think we can as fans. The first half was great.
Didn't help that our offensive coordinator was 1 foot out the door either.
Ooh, yeah.
I was going to say that out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a distraction. I'm not saying he didn't do a good job. It's a distraction. Yep. That's my point.
Yep.
So that's not taken out of context.
Yeah, indeed. We've talked about tailgating a couple times. So I do want to bring this up before I forget, because I just scribbled it down. If we still owe you flags, if you bought a Jackrabbit Illustrated flag from us, come and see us this week to get it picked up. If you have not paid for shipping, I won't ship it to you. It's expensive to ship these suckers individually. And so please come pick it up, or else you owe me extra money to have it shipped to you. We will be in the usual mega tent near the library, near where their alumni association usually is set up at. If you type Jackrabbit Book Club into your Google Maps, it'll show you exactly where we are. Chad got that hooked up at the start of the year. So please do that.
Yeah, and stay for a beer.
Yeah, stay for a beer. Yeah.
I'll have a beer for you. Don't worry about
it. There we go. Terry, I do not have any flags left at this point. We ordered 30, and when we had like 26 bought, and then after that, all of them got sold. So sorry about that.
Looks like Montana State's planning on bringing their band. Great. That makes a great atmosphere. Nobody's going to say anything bad about that. It'll be awesome. Yep. So good deal. I think they're going to be planning a couple buses perhaps too, from what I heard. So hopefully their fans are trying to fill section 124. I would say that they should probably sit in 123. That way you can't curse or drink. So make sure you buy your tickets in 123.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Game plan to win. Let's talk about this. Game plan to win. Honestly, we're just gonna have to score. We're gonna have to be efficient. This is gonna be a really high scoring game, in my opinion. And I know our defense is great, but I think it's gonna be like a 40 to 35, 38 kind of game. So that's what I'm seeing. I know the game against Weber, both of those were a little lower scoring games. Well, not really. They were 30s and 40s. So that's kind of what I see it as. This Montana State offense is so dynamic. So the game plan is to be efficient on offense, possess the ball, maybe hope for some turnovers against Montana State, whether it's a fumble, an interception, whatever it may be. I think we're going to have to force some turnovers. And again, just score on offense. And we can. I have every belief that we'll be able to move the ball against these guys, either on the ground or through the air. So
I'm going to go with Coach Stig response. Play a clean game. Do your 111th. I think if we come out and play to our capabilities and do our jobs and stay home when you're supposed to stay home and, run your assignments, block the guy you're supposed to block, get to that second level, I think we can win. I believe that we win. I'm a fan at heart. So, I think Ron's comment here is kind of funny. The Grizzlies hate us so bad that they provided William and Mary with heated seats and sign lighting heaters. Must have given them their playbook too. Ron, I'm pretty sure that if you read or you look into the requirements for hosting a game with the NCAA, is that if you provide something for your team, you have to provide it for the other team. So I would guess that's why those benches were actually there. The first game, I know we had those storage units, with heaters in them, and they had them on both sides. And then this game, we did not provide that for ourselves, so they did not have two of them. So I think that's what actually happened there, despite what you might think.
All right. Anything else, Chad, to add about this game before we get into predictions?
I think we need to do well on special teams, and we didn't touch on that. They do play good special teams. We got to do our assignments there as well, and not have any flubs. So
Yep. All right. Predictions presented by Culvers of Brookings and Watertown. So I think I'm going to get there. Well, no, I'm not. I might go to Culver's for supper before I hit the road and go home. They have a new drive-thru I noticed in Brookings, and I almost stopped there the other day, but it was a pretty good line. So I'm in need of a mint Oreo cement mixer. Like, they're the best there. So that's what I need.
Do they have Culver's in Montana? I don't know. I mean, legitimate question. If they don't, boy, if you're coming from Montana and you listen to this podcast, you better stop and get yourself some Culver's and some Cottonwood coffee while you're in town, because those are things you can't get.
Yep.
Unless you have a Culver's.
Yeah. All right. Predictions. So my player of the game is going to be Jackson Yankee on offense.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Who are you at?
I'm going with Mark. I think
Okay.
Stig doesn't like running quarterbacks. We just saw running quarterback. That running quarterback really took it to us because it's hard when he's the extra guy, like Stig says. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we see Mark maybe get some yards like he did in the Delaware game with his legs. And I think it'll be a difference maker.
Okay. All right. Defensively, I'll let you go first.
Oh man, I really want to go with Adam Bach, but I think Malik might be the guy this week because, like you
Okay.
said, he really comes up from the back and does some solid tackling. And I think he was really missed more than we might even realize this last week, even
Yeah.
though his sub plays really well as well.
Yep. Yep. I'm going to go with Norblade on this one.
Really?
So I really think our safeties are going to have a big role in this game. So, yeah. Well, we got some Bach. All right.
I guess they don't have Culvers. So yes, if you come to Brookings, hit up Culver's. They got some
Mm-hmm.
great burgers. And they're
Mm-hmm.
butter burgers, and there's no way to get a 50 butter burger without a butter burger. So you'll know what we're talking about when we talk about that.
Mm-hmm. There we go. So on this, Darren brings up. He says the Colonel is what he's guessing. There could be some opportunity here. Like
Yeah,
when they do drop back and pass. That's something I already picked up from Weber. The Weber game is interior pressure. If they just drop back and pass, but it is tough to gauge because they don't just
that's
drop back and pass that frequently. So
yeah, that's not the majority of their game. It's not that they don't
yeah.
do it. It's just they're 65 maybe
Yep.
percent run.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Jordan Fink picks out the chain gang as a whole. Well, we all know that's a cop out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's getting called out for it. I'll call myself out for it. In fact, I have.
Yep.
He's Jim Poppin says, time for number 94 to shine. I'd like to
Yep.
see that. That'd be great.
Yep. Hey, so we just hit 100 viewers and want to say thanks to everyone that is tuning in tonight, whether you're SDSU fans, Montana State fans, or just FCS fans in general that have found us through the FCS Fans Nation. So thanks for being here. We do appreciate that. All right, let's get a score, Chad.
Okay.
What do you got?
I don't know. You think it's going to be a high scoring game, don't you?
I do.
So like a 42-38 affair, or
Are
what do
you
you
kidding
think?
me? That is exactly what I have written down. 42-38.
Hey, as long
Oh
as the
my
good
gosh.
guys have the 42, I'm down with it. I read your notes, Matt.
Oh my
I read
gosh.
your recap. I read your notes.
All right, so I'm going to find something different there.
Seth
Um,
Myers says 38-27.
oh,
Boy, if we hold them to 27, I think we do win. Like, I think that's pretty safe to say.
all right,
Yeah,
Chad.
Ron Lowney says, hey, hit the like button,
Yeah,
especially if you're on the Jackrabbit Illustrated YouTube. We'd love the likes. If you're
yeah,
not watching on there, that's fine. But go over, give us a like over there because that promotes our channel.
yep,
You can also like it on FCS Fans Nation, but we have a little bit more of a budding YouTube presence than they do, so we could use the likes.
yep. Okay, I'm going to say 45-41 just because how did you do that? Gosh darn it.
Gary Youngman says 48-35. I think it might be a little closer than that, but that's a
Yeah,
decent pick.
yep.
Seth
Oh,
Meyer, I
gosh.
sure hope you're right, saying that the defense is going to be locked in. They better be because they kind of got their tails whooped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got to feel like they got beat this
Yeah,
last game,
I'd agree.
and let's not let it happen again, guys.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the word versus the herd, right? Is
The
what they're saying.
word. Have you heard about the word?
Yeah, yeah.
The bird is the word.
There you
Get it?
go. There you go. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Um, this is going to be interesting because the Bison are banged up on offense.
they sure
They
are.
they still have three good backs. I do want to say that. And Cam Miller is just weirdly efficient, and you think he's playing terribly, and then you look down at the stat sheet, and he's only he's only missed 3 passes, and he's rushed for 50 yards. So it's just he's the ugliest winning quarterback that that I can think of. Where on the other hand, Lindsey Scott looks like he's playing Tecmo Bowl, and he's Bo Jackson out there against everyone.
Yeah. He's a cheat code at this point. The good doctor, Lindsey Scott, as
right.
Our friends on FCS Fans Nation would say.
Yeah. So NDSU too is interesting right now because they may be getting back Eli Mostart, and Spencer Waggy looks like a 25-year-old 7th-year senior out there. Bad back, bad knees. But
still playing well.
Yeah, he's such a warrior. It's too bad that he's not fully healthy for NDSU, because he honestly is one of the best defensive ends at the FCS level that I can remember, from a side, like a pure size, play the run, play the pass. Well, he's a hell of a player. So that's too bad. If NDSU is able, which they should be able to run the ball and simply milk the clock and be efficient, just like our game, I think they get a win. But if Incarnate Word can play them tough like Samford did, and Incarnate Word's defense is actually better than Samford is statistically, I don't know. Like, I'm just really interested to see, because I don't know if NDSU is going to be able to stop Incarnate Word consistently either, because that's Samford quarterback that when they brought in that backup, or their actual starter.
That was their actual starter, and why you don't start him is perplexing to most people.
Yep. So
but if you listen to Brendan enough, and okay, so I listen to Brendan a bit, he points out that NDSU hasn't been real great at stopping the run this year. That's where they've really been, if you want to call it, we'll call it that's their weakest point. We'll call it. We had decent luck with them with the throws, but we really capitalized on runs. So it's kind of a strength issue. And but man, Lindsey Scott can sling the ball, and the receivers are great at creating separation. They really are. That's part of it. It's not just Lindsey Scott, because they had Cam Ward in there last year. We thought that was going to just be a huge fall off, and it comes out, and it's bigger this year with Lindsey Scott Jr. So the receivers are a part of that equation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There we go. Living up to the A-team name there. So
you've got a couple in already.
I know. You've just been making great points, Chad. I just have to agree with you. Yes, NDSU did lose Tamarick Williams, with a nasty looking ankle injury.
Yeah.
And then their other wide receiver, not DJ Hart, because he left. Who's
their tall guy?
No, Mathis is still
Mathis is still there?
Yeah, Mathis and Lippy. It's Mathis, Lippy, and Braylon Henderson are like the wide receivers that are still walking around, but they just lost. Who is it? Where's someone that was there? Rick Jensen, where are you? You'd know this name. But anyways, it's just their offense is so beat up. Raja Nelson. Thank you, Seth.
There you go.
Yep, Raja Nelson. And then their backup quarterback, Cole Payton, got hurt too, which sounds like he'll be okay. But he's kind of a running threat that they use to take maybe some of the body blows off of Cam Miller. So interesting. I don't know. I don't remember an NDSU team ever beat up this bad. So if they do win and advance the national championship game, I mean, that's a hell of an accomplishment for them right now. So
and they still don't have Luke. Yeah,
he's done. He wasn't even at the game. He was recovering from shoulder surgery, they were saying on the broadcast. So,
which is really too bad, because you want to see that guy, that quality of a guy play. I think they use their tight end a little bit more with him gone, which actually he's a hell of a player, and I feel like he's been a little underutilized this year. Just my opinion, but
Stoffel,
they got him.
Stoffel?
Yeah.
So, Corey Caraway, this is important. Just went online to buy my season tickets, and they were sold. Good. Sorry, Corey, for you. Tickets are going fast, and that's a good thing. I mean, I went on my Facebook after the game and wrote, If you've ever gone to a game with me before, come tailgating, or if I've bought tickets for you before for big games, please come to the game this weekend. Like, just begging people nicely to show up.
We can make a difference.
We can make a difference. Like, this is the chance. If you, not everyone can go to Frisco, I get that. That is a huge commitment. This is a Saturday afternoon, evening. You don't have to come tailgating with us. We'd love if you did. And it's 20-ish bucks for a ticket, right? 20 bucks.
15, I believe.
Somewhere in there.
Cheapest level.
So yeah. Come on. Please come to this game. If you're listening to this, please come to the game. We want you there. We need to make noise.
Either side of the ball, come to the game. Yeah. Come on out.
Friends.
We're friendly. We'll have a good time together. It's a strange comment by Corey, because I thought they held the season tickets for the ticket holders a little longer than that. The game was just yesterday. But I guess I'm not going to argue with him that happened. It obviously did, but
yeah. I don't know.
I obviously don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
anything else coming from Texas?
There we go.
High five for you.
We got folks coming from Arizona. We saw that. Chad's right. It's coming from Arizona.
We saw that.
Yeah. Oh man, folks, come on! Please come to this game. If you're listening to this, figure it out. We'll make it. We'll make it. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be cold. Eric,
right. That's the bet. That's football weather, isn't it? I mean, that's what I learned. That's what I played in, was cold. Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't have much else. Be there, be loud.
Yeah. Who are you taking? NDSU or Incarnate Word?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Ooh. Do we know a spread?
No.
What do you think the spread's going to come out as? We won't play that game, but what do you think it's going to come out at? I think we've both agreed that it's going to be NDSU, right?
NDSU by 10?
By 10.
That might be a little high.
I was going to go 7.5 or 6.5, depending on how you want to fall.
Yeah.
I'd say, if it gets into a track race, NDSU's screwed.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to take the Word by 3 points.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't know final score, but I'll take them by 3.
Okay. I'm going to take NDSU. I don't NDSU by touchdown.
That's a safe bet. That's a safe bet, but
yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. This was an awesome show. Again, we hit
points are out.
So 9.5. Okay. 9.
Bison by 9. Well, I'll take Word plus 9. Yeah, sure. Definitely. All right. With that, I think it's time.
Go big. Go blue.
Go blue. Go Jack.